Hi everyone and welcome back to SML Talk. I hope you're all doing well and enjoyed the last episode with Laura. I thought it was a really interesting one and it was great to hear about her experiences and her perspectives, and also share a bit more about the SML Group and the SML Subsidence team. This month's episode promises to be a good one and I'm really excited to chat with today's guest. As always, I'm your host, Tom Phipps. Let's get in to episode 3. Now, I'd be lying to say if it was easy to get today's guests to come on camera, but it took a fair bit of persuading, but we've managed to get him here today. We were actually due to record a few weeks back when Laura was on, but to be fair to him, he did have a stinking cold and he couldn't really speak. So it was probably a good idea that he wasn't in this tight studio when he was ill. He's someone that I've known since I was a young'un. He's a fellow Leicester City fan. Unfortunately, when recording this, we actually just confirmed our relegation to League One. So, yeah, not a great time to be a Leicester City fan. But more importantly, he's the big boss and the founder of the company that I work for, SML Group. So, introducing today's guest.
Yep, my name is Tom Harpin. I'm the Managing Director and the founder of SML Group.
Thanks for coming on today, Tom. Like I said, it's took a while to get you persuaded to come on, but I'm excited that I finally got some time with you so I can chew your ear off. Like I say, on previous episodes with Laura, we spoke a bit about SML and the teams. Obviously with Mike as well, we spoke about the PRI team and also the industry as a whole. But I thought, because I've got so much to talk about with you, that we'd focus less on the SML side of things and maybe do that in an upcoming episode or like a part 2. But I just wanted to chew your ear off on business, because obviously you started SML Group from the start and you've always been a business person. So I thought it'd be good to talk about business, your experiences, and I feel like you have some valuable knowledge that people looking to start their own business can learn from. So you'll be down for that. So
I will, yeah. Yep, no problem.
Let's get straight into it then. So obviously from an early age, you've always had sort of this passion for business. Did that start at school, or if you want to talk through about sort of where it came from?
Yeah, I don't think it started at school, but it definitely started at a young age. I wasn't very academic, if I'm honest. Didn't really overly enjoy school. It wasn't school as such, like, the fact of going to school. It was the teaching, and it just didn't really motivate me or drive me. So I think it was the passion sort of came alongside school, should I say, which was early on, probably 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah. So when you were obviously at school, and did you do business studies, or did you, because obviously they did business studies when I was doing GCSEs and things like that, did you carry out a business course like a GCSE, or what did you do?
No, so my education stopped at HND level, so I did a HND in business and finance. But when I left actual normal school, I went to do a public service course because I was going to be a police officer actually. That's what I wanted to be. But I quickly realised after 2 years of doing that sort of BTEC course, it was being a police officer wasn't what I wanted to do, or wasn't for me. Although my guilty pleasure is probably watching American crime drama, so maybe there's a detective in there somewhere. Yeah, maybe I do consider myself that I could probably be a detective. Maybe that's in my second career or third career further down the line. I think I didn't do anything GCSE level business, but I did move on to decide do a HND in business and finance, which sort of gave me a good grounding for all aspects of business really. But I never wanted to go and get my degree. I had one year left that I could go and do that, and I was toying with it part time, but in the end I decided not to.
So like at that young age, when you realised that you said you weren't an academic, you said, when did you realise that I want to work for myself, I want to have my own business? Because it was quite young. I think you said 13, 14.
Yeah, I think I suppose at 13 and 14, I didn't know I wanted my own business, but what I did have was good work ethic. I got my first job at 13 years and 9 months, which is I consider my son now is 10 years old. Like it seems crazy at that age, but I think at that age, in 13 or 14, it's quite pivotal as to what direction you go in life. And with me not overly enjoying school, there's a danger that a teen can go into, down a pathway of not being good and getting into a bit of trouble and stuff like that. But there was an opportunity with a friend of the family who worked at a local bakery, and my mum and dad were sort of asking him and badgering him for an opportunity for me to go and work there. But you had to be 14 years old, and I was 13 years and 9 months, and he took me on, and I was getting asked all the time for my national insurance number, which I didn't have because I wasn't old enough. And he just told me to just say it was in the post or you'd not received it yet. And obviously I got to the 14 and it was fine. But I started then months earlier. But I think it was a pivotal time for me to sort of put me on a different path, the right path. So I look back at that quite fondly. That guy done something for me, and that job was really interesting actually. In that. At a very young age, I started off cleaning trays. That's the bakery trays. When they came back, but then I moved into the confectionery department where we had a bit more responsibility for packing orders. And by the time I was probably there for about 3 years. By the time I was 15, we were supervising. This is unheard of. Like all the other people went home at 5 o'clock, but we were there till 7. And at 15 years old, I was responsible for the people that was there. Yeah. We used to have, I've got some very fond memories of that place. And we used to have a laugh, but we always used to get the job done. And when you get the job done, they don't care. But, they just let us get on with it. But, it's very fond looking back at it. Some great memories, some great guys that I still see now that work there. But, definitely put me on the right path. But what it does do at that age, at sort of 14, it restricts you in what you can work, so you can only work 2 hours a day. Back then, I think it was. So I always remember, £20.82. That's what I used to get a week. It was in the same wage slip every week, and I think that's probably where I wanted to do a bit more. So I used to rush home from school, go to that, do that every night, but I wanted to do a bit more, and I think this is where my first taste of business probably came into it, where I started doing gardening for some clients around the village, where I used to go and mow their lawn and do some bits and bobs. The first lady, a lady called Mrs. Burbage, she was a character. Yeah. She had some really good life lessons. She taught me a few things. Or taught me about the world. If it was raining, we'd go and sit in a conservatory and have a bit of a chat now and again. And I think it was quite interesting, interesting conversations with her about her experience. But she wasn't very mobile, and she had a big garden. One thing she used to make me do, which I used to hate, was clean the ponds out. Oh. Like when you get all the algae and stuff. Oh, I used to hate that job.
So would you say that when you obviously doing that gardening job, what was it? So what was like the driver at that young age? Because speaking like when I was 14 or 13, I know a lot of people would really resonate with that. Is you're playing FIFA football, you're finishing school, you're coming back, you're going down shop to get your sweets, playing a bit of football on the park, playing Xbox. What was it that was? How come you just that sort of hunger to work?
I don't know. I suppose I got a taste for earning a bit more money. Like I said, friends were working paper rounds where they get £5 a week, and just having that a bit more money and a bit more freedom to do what you want to do. I got a real taste for that, and not like I was pining after things and stuff, but I used to spend my money on my bikes, and I started saving up for a car. So I bought my car when I was 16 years old. I just got a. I suppose I just I wasn't afraid of working hard to get a bit of money to do something and to do more.
So do you think that like drive came from somewhere? Was it your family? Were your parents or entrepreneurs, businessmen, man, woman? Were they?
Yeah, people often ask me this question, and the truthful answer is, I'm sure my parents won't mind me saying, but they're not entrepreneurial people. They've got a great work ethic and always worked hard, which is been instilled in me. You said about me having a cold, but I'm very rarely ill. I very rarely have time off work over the last 20 years. So they've got a similar work ethic, worked hard. I have got wider family that own smaller businesses, but they've never really influenced me. But one funny story is I always ask that question: where do I get it from? When my granddad passed away, we were cleaning out his house and just going through his stuff, and we found all these business cards, which was like, what's this? And it was Roy plumber, Roy electrician, Roy this, Roy that. I was like,
Jack of all trades.
yeah. So I was like, well, maybe it does come from him a little bit, and he'd tried a few things in his past, but yeah, who knows? But yeah, it doesn't come from my direct my mum and dad. But one thing I've always thought about my journey and my parents, and they're not entrepreneurial people, like I say, but one thing they've never done is said I can't do something, and that's been the biggest.
That's so important, isn't it? Yeah.
Massive. Like, some of the conversations I have with my dad, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I can do this, can do that." Like, probably most parents would say, "Are you sure, son?
Yeah, of course you are.
Are you sure? Yeah, you'll do that." But he's been so supportive, and both of them have, and never ever said that I can't do it. And I think that is massive, because that don't put doubt in my mind either. So as soon as someone puts doubt in your mind that you can't do something, then that becomes a challenge.
That's probably instilled in you now as well with your boy as well, about the future, just supporting everything. And
anything that he wants to do, I'm quite happy to support him to do that. Just because I started a business doesn't mean I want him to start a business. I know how tough it is. So he can go off and do what he wants to do. All I want him to do is be passionate about something.
So you're saying, just mentioned there about sort of how tough it is for a business. Obviously, I think everyone will know, it's no walk in the park being a founder and sort of starting out fresh. So obviously before SML Group, it was Subsidence Monitoring Limited, and I think that was formed 2007, I think it was.
Yeah.
But obviously before that as well, you've had some other ventures and things you've been working on. But like, say, challenges. What's the biggest challenge, like starting off a business?
I think getting the right idea, that getting something that's actually scalable and something that you can actually sell out there, really. I was lucky. I found an opportunity which was through my dad, which I'm grateful for. Dad was employed at a company where I actually went to cover someone for holiday, because I was in school at the time, and they asked me a question: would you come and cover for this? And it actually turned out to be an opportunity where it gave me a bit of capital to go on to create Subsidence Monitoring, like you said, in 2007. But it was an opportunity where you got paid price per advertising poster you put up. So the advertising posters on train stations and shopping malls and stuff like that, it was just changing them over, and I used to get paid per one. Most people would do, 100 a day. I'd do 300. When you're getting paid price per one, it sort of added up to be a lot of money, which sort of that's how I sort of drifted into Subsidence, really. Because the advertising posters were changed every 2 weeks. I used to have a downtime week where I had nothing to do, really. And my friend from school was out monitoring. He had a job monitoring under your father.
Yeah.
all them years ago, and he asked me to come out with him on my down week. So I used to do 1 week on, 1 week off. That's where I learned how to do monitoring.
So obviously Subsmon started in 2007, and obviously it's grown into obviously becoming SML Group in 2015, when obviously we acquire these businesses to expand our service offering. So obviously SML Group is obviously we know it today, but over that 18 years from the start to SML Group now, it's like obviously it's not been plain sailing, but what's the like, sort of the biggest challenges that you've seen during this time?
I suppose, yeah, when you just said 18 years, then I went, oh my God. I think,
It's 19 years actually.
Is it?
Might be off.
That's fine. Yeah, it just seems a long time. I still think I'm 18 years old. I think, yeah, there's many challenges over time. There's a couple of pivotal points maybe that I could sort of kick on. I would say over the time of all my time in business, cash has always been a challenge. Cash when scaling, cash when just generally it can get a challenge in a difficult environment. The subsidence industries, I don't want to say up and down because that's a real weird pun, but yeah, it is time to, with surge events you have to scale up, and that comes with challenges, but then you also have to go back the other way. So, the cash becomes a challenge at them points when it's not, it's just not level all the time. I suppose another big challenge was, that actually started the strategy that we're on today, really, in that one of our clients back in 2013 lost a bit of insurer work, which sort of stopped 40% of our work overnight. That was nothing that we did, but it was just a change in a contract further down, or further up the line, shall we say. But that really shocked me at that point, because I was like, oh, and that was, I think it was 2012. In 2013, that's when we embarked on the current strategy, which is the buy and build.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought back Cliff Land Surveys during that period, because I knew I needed to have some more diversity to the group, and that's what we've been driving ever since. But yeah, we made our first acquisition in 2013, and then just carried on that same strategy since then.
So obviously throughout the time as well, you were saying about things happen that are out of your control, like you just said, but like biggest qualities as sort of like a business owner, I think we mentioned as well, is obviously that resilience to, like, people starting out, if things go wrong, it's quite easy to chuck a towel in and give up. So like you probably, being resilient as a business owner is so important, isn't it? Of just being able to crack on, and you see the vision and you're going to do everything you can to get to that end goal.
I think so, and I think that's what's really key, isn't it? In any startup business, it has all the enthusiasm of, oh yeah, I'm doing this, but when it starts to be a grind, when it starts to be difficult, that's when that resilience needs to come out. Like running a marathon, I guess, isn't it? The hardest part is towards the end, because you're tired and you've been battered, and it's been tough, and I think that's really key for any business owner going on any journey. If they really want to achieve something that's worth achieving, then they have to show that resilience and keep going. I've had really bad days and I've had really great days, but you've got to hope that the great days outweigh the bad ones, aren't they? And that will help you keep going. And the team around me help me do that.
Yeah, I think that's what separates the people who obviously want to start a business from those like who actually want to make it work, isn't it? Like we said, if things aren't going well and you're just happy to call it off, but if you're willing to stick at it and try and turn it around, I think it's so important, isn't it? It's like, I'm just saying like football terminology again, but it's like if you've been on the bench all season, it's quite easy to just, we could say it with the Leicester players, couldn't we? Of like, they're getting just their pay packet and they're not putting in the effort, and when they come on, you can see it. But if you wanted to work hard and get back into the team and things like that, it's the same.
I'm sure you've had that in your own career, and if you there's things that drive you to do that. You must see that in your own footballing career, isn't it? That you need to show resilience sometimes if things don't go your way, and if you have a couple of bad games or whatever, no one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
You know, as an individual footballer or as a business owner, no one's coming to save you to say, oh yeah, don't worry, Tom, we'll sort this all out for you. It just doesn't happen, does it? No. So you've got to dig in, and I joke sometimes, and the team will say that I just need today is a little bit of a pity party for myself, that things haven't gone well, but I need to move on, and tomorrow will be a different day, and I'll have a different attitude. But I'm not immune to everything that goes on, because then I'd just be a robot. Yeah. You know, there's things that get to me. There's things that I want to change, that are challenging to change and take time to change. But we're a decent sized organisation now that the responsibility is on my head, I guess.
Has that sort of approach to business changed from obviously the early days of, let's say, obviously Subsidence starting in 2007 to having, I don't know how many members of staff, maybe 10, maybe about that, I don't know, or less? We
scaled quite quickly at the start, so within the first year or so we had 25 staff, so it did scale quite quickly, but then sort of flatlined. You know, there's a saying that to get your first £1 million worth of sales is the hardest, and Jesus, it was. We must have took 10 years to get to £1 million worth of sales for us, and then the 2 million came within 1 year after that. Okay. So yeah, it's hard getting that first bit, and the first time you send somebody else out to do work that you would have done, that was not a difficult, but it's a time where you're just like, oh, I hope they do it right, and all that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of people have that thought, but it all worked out, and you start to build the back end processes to make sure that people are doing it the way in which you want them to do.
So obviously from that 2007 point to obviously the formation of the group in 2015, obviously present day now, is that approach to running a business changed, or from obviously the early days things would have changed, but have you always had the same principles in everything you've been doing in those 19 years?
Obviously I've matured in that. Well, I'd hope to think I've matured. Maybe matured in business, but maybe not in my personal life. It hasn't changed, and it's had to change, because did I make it up in the early stages? Probably yes. Did I make mistakes? Yes. There's things I look back on. I'm not going to mention them here, but there's things that I look back on that I probably would have done different. Overreactions and things that don't really matter. And I suppose that comes with the stress and strains of starting a business. But I'm far more relaxed now. I understand the process. I understand that things don't go to perfectly well on a day-to-day basis all of the time, but everyone's got the best intentions and want to do the best thing. It's how you deal with the things that happen. So my approach has changed. I've mellowed. I've understood what value or what values to instill in our staff, and I think that I hand on heart can say that we do our best every day, and as long as I can say that, then I'm happy.
I think one thing as well is that obviously working with yourself is how sort of driven you are. When you weekends or holidays, you're always taking your laptop, and I'm sure your wife says the same when you get off the laptop. But you, like you say, you're always switched on with work. Is that so? The drive the hunger hasn't really stopped. It's probably got more.
Yeah, it gets addictive, doesn't it? Yeah, it is a difficult one. I love what I do, and the day I don't love it, then I make a change. But I love what I do, and it's hard to describe to someone because people don't get it. I suppose, what's the best way of describing it? If you was a dolphin trainer, and you really love being a dolphin trainer, and then you go on holiday and you say you miss that dolphin, is that wrong?
No.
No? But I love what I do. So I'm not trying to escape it. I'm not trying to, do anything different. And yeah, that's just the way I am. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. Or if I needed the break or wanted the break, then I would do it. But is it addictive? Yes, it is addictive. Whilst I like doing it and love doing it, why not? But yeah, it does annoy my family, I guess.
So in this month's episode, instead of the Hill or Die On segment, we're going to ask Tom, so two Toms, some quick fire questions. So are you ready for them? Quick fire, but I'm not sure how quick they're going to be. So
Ready as I'm ever going to be.
Let's go. So one skill every entrepreneur should learn early.
So difficult these are got to be. Sales.
Scale quickly or grow steadily.
Grow steadily, easy come, easy go. If something comes too easy, it can easily go. Fads and stuff like that.
What's the hardest part of running a business?
The business we're in, people management.
What skill has mattered most to you in your success?
We talked a lot about resilience, haven't we? And I think it is. I think that's key. The ability for the bad things that happen don't go your way to just keep going. Yeah.
What's one expense you would never cut?
You need to know your numbers. It's crucial for you to know your numbers. So I think it's got to be accounting.
What's been your biggest lesson from failure or something that's not gone right?
Not everyone is truthful.
Okay. Gut feeling or follow the data?
Follow the data.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
I don't think I've received any advice that I could stand out like that, but I think something that I work on is myself. I find that if I grow, the business will grow. So working on myself, generally more than the business, will help the business grow naturally. So I think, maybe that's me giving advice to somebody else rather than the advice that I've received. But I suppose I've learned that over the years. So that is something that it's not been a direct advice, but it's definitely been something that worked well for me.
What motivates you every day?
I think making a difference, change, innovation, moving things forward. Would I run a business that was just a sausage factory? Would I have the passion for it? Probably not. I'm definitely I call myself the managing director still, but a lot of people call me like CEO or whatever you want to call it. But I always think a managing director is somebody who's quite actively involved in the business, and that's me. I think a CEO can sort of, it's obviously the figurehead, but it becomes less operational, and I enjoy more getting into the into the operations and making a difference, and that's what motivates me to keep going. So a purpose and a mission alongside our strategy of what we need to do.
Finally, one piece of advice that you give to like aspiring business people or entrepreneurs like wanting to start out.
I think so many people are scared. Like they'll see it as a big step. I think we've talked about this before, haven't we? It never crossed my mind, and maybe that was circumstances. Maybe that was, maybe I was unemployable as to work for somebody else that I didn't. I just went off and done my own thing. But don't be scared. And what's the worst that can happen? You just go go back to your normal job. I think, there's such a skill shortage of everything in this country. Why, if you're a plumber working for someone and you want to start your own business, or a decorator or a bricklayer or whatever that may be, you can get a job anyway. So try it, give it a go, and what's the worst that can happen?
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us today, Tom. I think that'll conclude our episode, but have you found it all right?
Yeah, no problem. It's been it's been good. Dragging up some of the past, and I've been asking these challenging questions. I don't often think about these things. Fully focused on forward and going, executing the strategy. But I think looking back at some things is good sometimes. So I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
It'd be good to maybe get you on for part 2 down the line, talking maybe a bit more about the group and
steady on.
But no, thank you. Thank you for listening and watching to episode 3 of SML Talk with Tom Harpin. Hope you've really enjoyed it. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a listen on Spotify, and be sure to check out our socials. Thank you very much.